What is going on, guys? It's Rob from Heroes Avenue coming at you to talk about the upcoming Justice League movie. Now, we're just under 2 months away from this behemoth of a movie that we've all been waiting for so long, and I believe the hype train is going to start rolling out pretty soon with New York Comic Con around the corner. Now, what I want to talk about today is the news that has got all the people going crazy over social media, the blog posts, comment threads, and all that. And that is the fact that Billboard sat down with Danny Elfman, the composer of the Justice League score, who replaced Junkie XL. He sat down and talked about scoring the Justice League movie. Now, if you just go about reading the headlines that have come out recently, basically what the headlines are going to say is that Danny Elfman is going to use the John Williams Superman score for the upcoming Justice League movie. You know, the score, that famous score. Dun, 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 dun. So that iconic score, which is an awesome and such a memorable score for the movie that it was at the time, that score is totally awesome. You guys know my feeling on that score and the Man of Steel score. And the Man of Steel movie itself, I believe that movie is a masterpiece and is greatly underappreciated. But I digress. Basically, if you just go by the headlines and read the headlines, you're going to see that a lot of people are talking about Danny Elfman using this score. But I think what a lot of people are assuming is that he's totally scrapping the Hans Zimmer Man of Steel score. And if you base it off just the headlines, I could totally understand. But you know, us fans and as movie lovers in general, you got to go more than just the clickbaity headlines, and you have to actually read what he actually said. So when you actually read what Danny Elfman said, which I'm about to do in just a second, you're going to realize that no, he's not actually going to simply replace Hans Zimmer's score, which is an amazing score. So let me go ahead and read you the quote right here. When asked what it was like going back to the DC Universe, Elfman said, "There are a few little fan moments. I instated a moment of the Wonder Woman theme that Hans Zimmer did for Batman vs. Superman, but I also had 2 minutes where I had the pleasure of saying, let's do John Williams Superman. And that for me was heaven, because now I have a melody to twist, and I'm using it in an actually very dark way, in a dark moment. It's the kind of thing that some fans will notice, some won't. It's a moment where we're really not sure whose side he's on." And that is a really interesting quote because, one, he did not totally say he's going to scrap the Hans Zimmer score. He did say he was going to use the Wonder Woman score. Didn't necessarily say he's going to use Hans Zimmer's score, but I believe we are going to use it because of what he said afterwards, which is the fact that he said he had 2 minutes to use in a very dark moment, or to use in a moment, and he used it in a very dark way. He said some fans will notice it and some fans won't, where he could use the John Williams score. So he's talking about one moment in the movie. And a lot of people will think this is kind of a spoiler about what happens in the movie. Some people will think that this is obviously confirming the evil Superman theories that have been floating around since the ending of Batman vs. Superman, when the little dust of dirt starts rising up from his grave. A lot of us already assumed that Superman's coming back. He's probably going to be evil. The nature of that return, we don't know. But a lot of people are thinking that with this information, he's actually spoiling the movie. Well, I actually love this quote, taking it for how it is, because Danny Elfman definitely, I think, could put his own little, him saying that he's going to put his own little twist on it, and that people may not recognize it. I always love those those winks to the fans in these movies, these little Easter eggs. So I'm happy in assuming that he is not going to scrap the Hans Zimmer score, because the Hans Zimmer score for the Man of Steel is totally perfect for this Superman that we have, this incarceration of Superman. And I am happy that he's going to wink at the past with his 2 minutes to play in a very pivotal scene, is what it sounds like. So he did say that. He also did go on to mention creating themes for the Flash, Cyborg, themes that Warner Brothers may want to build on in the future. So here's that full quote. He added that he created simple motifs for the characters in the film. There are so many themes, you can't just do a big theme for everything. So I created a motif for Flash, for Aquaman, and Cyborg. But they're very simple things. And DC understood. I said, these things may never be used again, but I'm giving you all the components should you wish to have things to build on. So they either will or they won't, but that's how I approach a project like this. You have to take the attitude that this is the beginning of a mythology, and it all matters, it all comes to fruition, and with any luck, they will. So I also love this, the fact that he's not committing to creating a theme, and they're not going to box themselves in a corner. Danny Elfman did create themes for The Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg that they may build on. Hopefully they're memorable themes, because it's DC's, this DC universe is, in one way that it differentiates itself from Marvel, in a sense, is that their themes are so iconic. When you think of DC and their iconic godlike characters, you can automatically start humming their theme song. So hopefully Danny Elfman is he's continuing the tradition of making awesome, memorable, iconic themes, and we all know that he has done some in the past. Not necessarily with Age of Ultron, but with things like Batman. So, you know, there may be some room for him to potentially add in that original Batman theme as well. Hans Zimmer did create a theme for the Dark Knight that we have in this current DCEU. If they scrap it or not, I'm not as passionate about that as I am about the Man of Steel theme. I do think they should keep it in a way, but with Danny Elfman being on board and what he says in this last part of the quote, which I'll read in a second, we may even get a little bit or a play on his original Batman theme from 1989. So I'll go ahead and read you this last quote. And this is when he's being asked about working with Joss Whedon again. It was the same as when I worked with him on Ultron. He appreciates melodies and pieces. He's like, oh, you've given it identity here. This was a moment where the Batmobile shoots out of the thing and he goes, go batshit crazy here. Batman the shit out of it. When I'm using the Batman theme, I'm using the melodic sense of it. I wasn't doing full-on Batman, and there's a moment where he says, no, right here, full on. So that right there is really awesome. I'm really excited to see what he does with the Batman theme. We didn't get a lot of it in the previous movie, and I could see them kind of shifting away from that theme because it is a really darker tone theme for Batman, which totally makes sense. But I know they're trying to, DC is trying to brighten up their image and everything like that. So we'll see what they do with that. So let me know what you guys think about them using parts of the John Williams theme, or Danny Elfman using parts of the John Williams theme in Justice League. Let me know what you think about that. Would you rather him not touch it at all, or are you excited that he's going to play around with it? And what do you think about Batman? Them using Batman's original theme from 1989 and scrapping the Hans Zimmer theme. What would you prefer? Let me know in the comments below. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.